morning, my dear brothers and sisters, clergy and ambassador for peace. 안녕하십니까? Yeah, today already last day of this month. Wow. Today I'd like to talk about God's ideal family and the kingdom of peaceful ideal world 1 from True Mother's Anthology Volume 2. Let's start.
God's ideal family by loving our enemies more than we love our own children. Was there ever a time when God, as our true father and true mother, could rejoice with human beings, enjoying the natural bonds of parent and child? Has God enjoyed even a year of comfort with his children, knowing that what he created was good? The answer is no. God has not enjoyed this even for 1 hour.
For that reason, God has never had the time to see Adam and Eve become true father and true mother of mankind, to welcome them with joy and to be pleased with them. God has led providence for 6,000 years since the fall of Adam and Eve, and so far he has never met anyone. He has never met anyone who can console and comfort God's pain for even 1 hour, let alone a year. How much do you comfort each day for the sake of a sorrowful God? Is it 1 minute? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 30 minutes? In the end, God also finds a person who recognizes him, thinks of him, and comfort him. So that's why we have to be a really filial son. Filial son is always need to recognize the parent's situation, and then always console him and comfort him, think about him and recognize him. That is a filial son. That's why, to become filial son and daughter, we have that kind of attitude, how much we spend time to console him and comfort him and recognize him and think about him and love him. The biblical account of the Cain and Abel reveals the beginning of the human conflict right in Adam's family. We are conflicted on many levels, right? Beginning with the war between body and mind within each individual, extending to wars between nations, and culminating in the global conflict between materialism and theism. Extreme selfish individualism threatens our prosperity. Even today, we deem young people to be whole of the humanity, holding the promise of the future, yet drugs and free sex enslave them. My brothers and sisters, advanced countries seem to believe that material goods are all that matter. They recognize only their own interest while ignoring the misery of the tens of thousands who die of starvation every day. No one could have imagined that God's 6,000 years providence of suffering laid the foundation for true parents to pay indemnity on behalf of all mankind and achieve victory on the cosmic level. True parents' hardships and sacrifices and victories will show their true value only after many years have passed. Living divine principle, eschatology, and human history. Let's start.
Human history of the world is the time of judgment. This is the time like when Lot lived in Sodom and Gomorrah. Therefore, you should be the person who commits yourself to heaven and lives according to God's command. Otherwise, you will fall into the same situation as the wife of Lot, who was swept away in the judgment of Sodom and Gomorrah. You must not be like Jewish worshippers. And
will happen in the last days. This is the time like when Lot lived in Sodom and Gomorrah. What was the reason for destruction of the Sodom and Gomorrah? Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because of obscenity. In the last day, people will eventually perish through obscenity. Therefore, the biggest problem in the last day is the issue of the fornication. If we do not solve this problem, we will never be able to overcome the last days. Have you graduated from the individual dimension to the end of the individual level? If fornication still remains in us after knowing its meaning, it is proof that the remnants of the end still remain. The way to forever overcome Satan's end is to be liberated from, obscenity. The liberation of the obscenity is the true inner conversion of lineage. The way to be liberated from the obscenity is God's way of liberation. Therefore, today in the last day, you must entrust everything to heaven and become a person who can live according to heaven's commands. If not, you will be in the same position as Lot's wife, who was swept away in the judgment of Sodom and Gomorrah. Therefore, you must not concede anything to Satan and must not forget the fact that a life and death battle is unfolding at this very moment. That's why, how can we really overcome chapter 2? How can we really overcome that kind of spirit of the fornication, right? Because ancestors fall because of chapter 2. That's why how can we really purify ourselves? This is the really issue. Satan, every minute, every time, every second, confirm you are my child, and always providing that of the spirit of the fornication. Oh, this is Satan. He want to confirm. He want to confirm his blood lineage, the chapter 2 blood lineage, in terms of the culture, in terms of the thinking, in terms of the attitude, everywhere. So how can we really graduate from that kind of environment? This is our struggling point, right, my brothers and sisters? So did you graduate already last day? You graduate last day means completely separate from Satan, divorce Satan, and then belong to God's sons and daughters, means really already graduate. How many of you graduate last day? Graduate last day means separate from the spirit of chapter 2 and fornication. It's important. Still something remain, right? Still some parts still remain, right? That's the real issue. That's why if we really overcome the chapter 2 issue, the spirit of the fornication, you already reach different dimension. Already you can surpass the top of the growth stage. Really enter the foundation of the heart. This is really, can you imagine 6,000 years Satan continuously invade? When you open the window and then wind coming, right? When you wake up, everybody's struggling with this issue. Does not matter you are old guy or young guy, you are professor, or you do not know. Oh my goodness. That's why you really have to be serious. How can really kick out that kind of chapter 2 spirit and then really become pure God? Pure God. And then really God can come to you and then living together with you. Next.
Time to cross the worldwide goal. Stand as a victor and fight against Satan with tears. Please, let us be pioneers of tears and make a relationship with God.
Yes. Since this is the time of the end of the world, you must cross the worldwide Kolkata of tears. The time has long passed. path for you to cry for yourself, your family, or your country. God wants us to be believers who cry for the world while grasping God's will. God has been working for the thousands of years and wants us to become saints who hold on to God's will and shed tears for the sake of the world. This is because God's final goal is world salvation. God's greatest concern is the total salvation. That's why you need to think of the world. No one missing, right? Total salvation. It doesn't matter you are black guy or white guy or yellow guy, what kind of nationality. God's concern is not just only tribe, not just only nation. God's concern is the whole world. Whole world missing, nobody missing. Total salvation. That is God's final goal. That's why God's final goal should be my goal. Total salvation, which is a world salvation. Therefore, in order to cross the worldwide Kolkata, we must shed tears over the liberation of God and the salvation of the world, not just only my nation, not just only my tribe, not just only my family. To do so, we must inherit the tears that Jesus and true parents shed for the world and have the spirit of the ownership to take responsibility for the sake of the world. A filial child is someone who carries their parents' Kolkata in their state. A patriot is a person who carries the nation's Kolkata in its state. A saint is a person who carries the responsibility of the Kolkata on behalf of the world. And the divine person is someone who carries God's Kolkata in his state, right? That's why our way is very clear. Have to be a patriot, have to be a filial son in the family, have to be a patriot in the nation, have to be a saint in the world, have to be a divine sons and daughters in cosmos. Wow, our way is very, very clear. Who teaches this much clearly? Our family pledge mentioned very clearly what's the way, right? Very clear. Not just only become patriot, not just only become filial sons and daughters. You need to love the world. Not just only love the world, including spiritual world. Even you need to liberate heavenly parents. Wow, our true parents really, really, they are the Messiah. Teach us in detail, tell much, very clear, where to go. Very clear. Next.
Ideology. Our business, our lives, our ideology.
Save the world is, disciples who follow true parents must carry the cross of the world like true parents. No matter what you do, you must think of the world salvation from 1 to 10. The last days are the days when all of our projects, lives, and ideologies must go first for the salvation of the world. That's why I'm really concerned about our second generation, third generation, our young generation. How can we show the vision for the sake of the world? Our final stage is for the sake of the world, not just only for America, for the sake of the world. Because God's concept is really thinking of the world, thinking of the whole mankind. That's why we need to create not just only the pledge, external pledge. We really substantially create one family under God, global family, global citizenship, which is 천일국 citizenship. Today's youth ministry, the reason God tests mankind, very important content. I think this is really inspired me. I hope this can inspire you as well. Let's study from the Bible first.
Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him, crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly." Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciples came to him and urged him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, help me," she said. He replied, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." "Yes, it is, Lord," she said. "Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus said to her, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted." And her daughter was healed at that moment.
Oh my goodness. In our life of faith today is when we are disappointed in Abel, whom we respected, right? If there is an incident where our Abel disappoints us, we often lose our initial motivations. However, even though the Canaanite woman in the Bible was treated like a dog and ignored by Jesus, her faith in Jesus did not change at all. Despite being ignored and disappointed by Jesus, her initial motive and determination to heal her demon-possessed daughter and her faith in Jesus did not change at all. Today, there are many of our seniors who, while following the path of the will, were disappointed by true parents and stumble in the middle of the test or left the church. When we walk the path of the faith, we are often easily become disappointed and despaired, right? However, what we learn from this foreign woman, the Canaanite woman, is that her motivation has not changed at all. Regardless of how others treat her, she respected Jesus, and regardless of the circumstances, and even though Jesus ignored her, she overcame the test and she faced. This is amazing faith. How about you? Your situation is like that. This Canaanite woman was blessed by Jesus because she was not disappointed in the place where she would have been. And her motives did not change at all. She was, thorough in her motives. Amazing faith. Next, not become the disappointed. Even if you see your Abel's shortcomings, don't be hurt by them. Think of Abel's shortcomings as your own and have the mindset to go further and take responsibility for Abel's shortcomings as well. However, what should we do if we find ourselves in an environment where we cannot help but be disappointed because of Jesus or true parents? You can overcome maybe by some Abel's about the test, right? How about tested by Jesus, tested by God, tested by true parents? God always refines, okay? God always refines humans by giving them tests and trials. Therefore, you must be prepared to overcome countless trials and tests. To overcome trial of the true parent, you must first have absolute faith in divine principle. Second, through prayer and spiritual experience, we need to absolute certainty about who true parents are. You must have the conviction, spiritual experience, and evidence, thorough principles, okay? True principles, okay? Ties to deny true parents are the Messiah. Otherwise, when there are tests and trials, you will stumble. However, God and the spirit world cannot budge on those who have absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience, my brothers and sisters. You know, many people, kind of like, very difficult situation. When trial coming, okay, you are able to test, maybe you can overcome, okay? And then, sometimes spiritual temptation, chapter 2 temptation, maybe you can overcome. And then gradually, maybe tested by true father, maybe you can overcome. But final test by true mother. Many senior police couple really dropped their faith because they could not overcome true mother's leadership. Yeah. And also another test, really many people stop their life of faith because of the test by true children. Someone so disappointed by true children because of this case, because of that case, all kind of case, especially many second generation of true children, so disappointed and have distance and completely left the church. No more concern. Even they curse unification church. Even Japan, we can see even in Japan, even in America, right? This is a test. How do you overcome test? Okay? Many trials coming. You look at throughout the human history, Noah's test, Abraham's test. They receive so much test and trial. Our life of faith is really challenging and overcoming. Overcoming test and trial. And then God giving you another test and trial. How do you overcome? Life of faith is overcoming. Any trial come, any test come, by able, by true father, by even true mother, by even true children, by material, by woman. Kind of the trial and test come. That's why you need to make sure you must have the conviction and spiritual experience and the evidence through the principle that cannot be denied, even if tries to deny that true parents are the Messiah. That's why you need to have an absolute conviction. Divine principle is eternal truth. And then you need to have the spiritual experience. I cannot deny Father Moon, Mother Moon, they are the Messiah. You need to have that kind of conviction. And no matter any kind of trial come on the way, I can overcome it. But you are still doubting and disappointed, and then Satan is a chance to attack you and invade you. Yeah, come. You belong to me. Even senior plus couple follow 30 years and 50 years and 60 years at the end. Because of the mother's leadership, someone disappointed and then do not come to church anymore. Oh my goodness. Even God sometimes ignore people in order for them to grow. He took the wife away from Abraham. Can you imagine? And tried to Abraham to offer Isaac the son he had acquired after 100 years. My goodness. God blessed Abraham and Sarah. Okay, I will give you a son. And they got the Isaac after 100 years life. And then God all of a sudden asked them to offer, his only son. Can you imagine? As a burnt offering. Why is that? It was God who wanted to see how the center was in the motive Abraham had in the first place. Next.
Oh.
Okay, please.
Yeah. The reason God tests mankind's faith. God sometimes coldly tests people in order to motivate them more. Before Satan can accuse them, God puts such a test on human beings. He did so with Abraham to see the result, then said, "Now I know that you fear me." We all have trials. There are trials through the person I hate, and sometimes there are trials through the person I trust. Sometimes it's an ordeal from someone I admire. Look at Jesus testing the Canaanite woman. Jesus put her to the test to see if her motives were thorough. How surprised God must have felt when Abraham actually offered his son Isaac as a sacrifice after being commanded by God. God confessed in surprise, "Now I know that you revere me."
Crucified on the cross, God denied. But Jesus' faith never changed. You know, when true father discovered divine principle here and then, he going through all kind of a test, denied by some spirit and senior and saints and sages. And then most difficult things at the end, even God denied him. But through father unchanging faith and even convinced God, logically, artistically, God at the end surrender. God tests our faith. So, through Abel or through the center, God invites me or gives me an incident in which I have no choice but to feel sorry for myself. It's just like Jesus ignored the Canaanite woman. God sometimes coldly tests people, to motivate them more. Before Satan can accuse them, God put such a test on human beings. He did so with Abraham to see the result, then said, "Now I know that you fear me." There are many trials and tests in our course of faith. There are trials through the person we hate, and sometimes there are trials through the person we trust. Sometimes there are trials from someone we admire. How surprised God must have felt when Abraham actually offered his son Isaac as a sacrifice after being commanded by God. God confessed when really Abraham offered his only son Isaac. Even God so surprised. Wow, this guy really want to kill his son? Really want to offer? That's why God surrender and confess in surprise. Now I know that you reveal me. Confess that. From now I'm the God of Abraham. I'm the God of Isaac. Oh my goodness, surrender. Because of the absolute faith. Do you have that kind of absolute faith in true parents or no? Do you have that kind of absolute faith in true mother? Yes or no, my brothers and sisters? How can we separate between true father and true mother? You cannot separate your mind and body. You cannot separate father and mother. You need to absolutely believe in true parents. When you start have that kind of motivation first, and then until the end, keep absolute faith, no matter what. Never betray true parents, right? The reason why God gives a human test is to refine our faith. Second, to free us from the Satan's accusations. And third, to grow ourselves. My brothers and sisters, today I talk about the reason God tests humankind. Thank you very much. Oh. Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters, clergy and ambassador for peace. 안녕하십니까? Yeah, today already last day of this month. Wow. Today I'd like to talk about God's ideal family and the kingdom of peaceful ideal world 1 from True Mother's Anthology Volume 2. Let's start.
God's ideal family.